This weather sucks, man. I'm sorry. I can't. I'm like, I looked outside my windows right here and I went, oh,
It's
no.
so bad. It's so much snow. And they do a terrible job of plowing. I don't know if that's your situation up there. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's Michigan. We're used to it. I'm like, I'm not used to it. Please plow the snow.
Yeah.
But anyway,
For goodness sakes, man, get it out of here.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, that's funny. No, I'm not sure, obviously, what it's doing over in Kazoo, but here
yeah.
it's starting to come down again. And it's like,
Oh, is
oh,
it again? I think we're clear right now, but it's still piled up. Like yeah, it's not been dealt with at all. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, is that a trophy over your shoulder, by the way?
yes, it is. I conveniently placed there. No, we had our banquet a couple of days ago and we have to bring our hardware back.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
that's the MAC tournament MVP trophy of this year. So all the other ones are sent home. I'm starting to pack up the room because I don't know where I'll be when I'll be there. So I'm like
Okay.
just sending some, unnecessary things home. So
Yeah.
like starting to get the decor out and stuff and the what I used to, it would have been cool for this. I used to have game balls on like up here, like on like a rack. It
Yeah.
was all the like 1,000 assists, 2,000 assists. They're all lined up because I found that was the best way to store them because it's kind of just weird having volleyballs laying around. I'm like, I don't know what to do with these. Like I've got one sitting in my contact case right now because I have nowhere to because I had to bring it to the banquet. But
Sure.
yes, that is the MVP trophy. Good times. Good.
Wow.
Glad it's there.
Look at how appropriately placed that is.
Yeah,
That's
right. I know. I
remarkable
just
to
put it
me.
down conveniently. I think my flow naze is out of the screen. Hopefully,
Oh, yeah, there it
I've
is.
been trying to like look behind me. I'm like, oh my god, what's in the back? I didn't really do anything to it. There's some hangers, whatever, but nothing that's gonna out me for anything.
Wow. Well, folks, welcome in Logan Case. For those of you who were generally unaware of who this lady is sitting to my right, I think that would be in a virtual sense. We've had a great conversation off camera, and we're back to the on camera portion of the rec room. Welcome in, Logan Case.
Thank
It's
you.
episode 15 of the rec room, which is, or wait, is it 16? See what's crazy here, Logan, is I'm losing track, right? I've been doing this show since right around Halloween. It was like October 31st where we started to think about it, dream it up, and it's been amazing to see it kind of come to fruition. And I just wanted to say thank you to you because not only did we have a great interview, I thought, when you all, the Broncos, were riding high into East Lansing for Big Ten Network and everything. So thank you for that.
Of
But
course.
additionally, when I mentioned to you, I was like, hey, what do you think about a podcast interview? You were like, absolutely. And then not only that, but wait until the season's done. Try not to step over things. In my case, I'm like, I can't get in her way. There's somewhere to go here. She's got to finish. And then, Logan, my heart leapt when you texted me and were like, hey, I'm about ready. I went,
Yeah.
yes, this is phenomenal. So I'm serious when I say this. It's like that made me feel really good. And I just very much appreciate you for being willing to do it
Of
and to
course.
engage in everything that's going on here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm super pumped. I can't wait to chat a little about volleyball and a little bit about, a little bit of Kalamazoo and share some good things about what's going on here. So there's lots of good stuff happening. So I can't wait to spill some of the tea on it.
That's right. And there's so much. I think what you just said is important. There's been so much life change that's going on for you, right? With graduation and getting ready to move. We talked about you packing up the thing and getting ready. But I want to kind of reflect a little bit as we begin here because for me, I'm looking and I'm like, okay, recent WMU grad. We're not going to spill the beans on what you studied yet. I want to get to that.
Okay.
But then it's like, okay, two-time conference champion. It's multi-time setter of the year. It's like your time there is riddled by accolades. So being a setter and kind of being able to conduct your school's offense and having done so at such a high level, I mean, the MAC all-time lead in assists, everything, every number and every award really does speak for itself, I feel. But I want you to be able to speak on what the setter position has meant to you and kind of what it's like to become somebody who's winning things as a setter, who's able to facilitate that offense, like we said.
Yeah, I think So something that kind of speaks to what I think about setters that kind of makes sense with my personal story on what I think a setter should be. I grew up playing volleyball my entire life, whatever. It's been a huge part of my life, the probably the most major part of my life and aspect of myself. But I started out, I loved it from a young age. I played all positions, it was all the way around, was always kind of short. Like I grew quick, but then when I started playing volleyball, I'm like, okay, I'm not getting any taller. I'm not going to be a big hitter, even though that's what I kind of wanted to be. And I was that until about like eighth grade. And then all of a sudden, net gets higher, you don't grow anymore. And I turned to a setter. And so I'm at club tryouts. I must have been turning 14 or no, turning 13. I was playing 14s.
Mm.
And they're like, hey, go on. And my parents run the club. So I'm like, I've got the in there, whatever. Say what you want about that. I think I've proved myself out of that, but
Yeah, maybe.
you never know what people say.
Yeah,
And so they're like, go on the court one. It's the setter court. And I'm like, I liked setting, we rotated. Like, it was fun. I did it for a rotation, but I'm like, okay, like why? I mean, no one really talked to me about this. And so I go on the setting court and I do my thing. And then I'm on the one team for setting. And I'm like, okay, like I know I can do it, but I'm like, I used to play all the way around. Like this is a complete, and that was turning 13 or 14. So it was kind of late in the game, I felt, for like the first time. And to be on the one team doing this, I'm like, okay, like I'm not really sure, but they put me on that court because they're like, you have the personality of a setter. Like you can be yourself in any position, but like we didn't put you there because you can set. We put you there because you can learn to set and you have the intangibles. And I was like, okay. And like, I like to have a lot to do with it. I want to have control. Like, I think that makes sense. And like for me being a hitter and having a setter who wants to take control, that would give me some kind of confidence. I think that would be like, oh, like she's got this. Like I can just do my job if she gives me the ball. I think that would give most people confidence in that position. So yeah, I think I love being a setter. I love having something to do with every play. I never call help. It's mine. I'm not letting anybody have it. Like I want to be facilitating that offense. And I think that's kind of my personality and my intangibles brought this role upon me, and I have really loved it. As much as I can miss hitting, I couldn't have possibly done that anymore. So I'm very glad that setting kind of found me in that way.
most definitely. Most
Yeah.
definitely. And I think what you mentioned about there's a couple things at play here. Number one, parents being the leader of the club. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. And I know what you said about outperforming, that whole
Yeah.
thing. I think so too. That's very much so true.
Yeah.
Just from me, on the outside looking in. But as well, Logan, like you said, and they said, like the intangibles are what's going to win here. And
Mhm.
I think too, for me, when we were doing your game, Michigan State, Western Michigan, earlier this season, I couldn't help but notice, like, I believe in my heart that you are the most vocal player I've ever watched. Like, that's
We
without a doubt. And it just is really cool to me. Like, where did that side come from? Has that always been true? I know you talked about the intangibles, but what has the voice meant to you and being able to direct and call people off and lead the charge there?
Yeah, I think I've always been like loud and vocal.
Mm.
I
Mhm.
I think that's what drew people to even put me as a setter. Like I think like being vocal, like as a young kid, it's like you need someone with confidence. You need someone who can take, game plan from coach differently. I think
Mhm.
setters are trained differently. I think we'll kind of get into that, but like they just you need some extra help from coach. Like you get information that not everyone gets. You get a game plan that not everyone gets because they don't need to know that because it's not their role and it's our role. And so I think, yeah, I've always been vocal. I've always been loud. I think it started with loud and being, the cheerleader. And then you
Sure.
start to learn what actually helps people play, what information do people need or want to hear,
Mm.
backing them up. And I think I've never been afraid to kind of like take mistakes on myself. And I learned that from being young and just being in sports for so long. Like, hey, like I would vocalize that, my bad. I want to make people feel like they can be that way. And I think
Sure.
that kind of started it too. So being someone who's mentally that's another intangible that I've been told that I have mental toughness, like being able to say, hey, that's me. I'll do this for you. You do this for me. It's kind of that interchangeable relationship that you need to have for that accountability piece of sports. But yeah, I think I've always kind of been that way. It started off with just being loud and annoying. And now I started to learn what I was doing and how I could speak good, true words for as being a setter.
Mm. Wow. 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 That makes me think of something, right? Is like, okay, you have the ownership piece, like the
Mm,
the willingness to go out there and say that was on me. I
mm,
got you, right? We're still in this thing.
yeah.
Is there any moment that you can remember as we're reflecting a little bit, thinking about your career of
Yeah.
like, shoot, that was a situation that maybe I mishandled in the way that I was directing somebody. I said the wrong
Hmm.
thing, I missed that.
Hmm. That's a good one. I'm gonna have to think about this for a second.
Sure.
I think maybe this will help me stir up like a story or an instance, but I think it is tougher in college too because you get girls from, high school, you're all local, you have the same city culture. Club, you're all from the same area, you grew up together, you kind of know each other. Then you go to college and it's like you got some butting of heads. Maybe you all think you're the best. We probably were all the best in our high school or one of the
Sure.
best. We probably were all the ones that, we're getting the awards or whatever. You have some personalities that they come together that from every which way. And you're like, somebody's don't know how to handle that. So I think there's always, I think also being a setter like is reading your teammate and what they need. One teammate might want you to light a fire under their butt, and one teammate might need, hey, don't worry about it. And I think that's tough for me. I'm pretty intense. I love winning. I think I have enough pocket change of like good work with my team that they know that if I get overly competitive, it is just because we want to win. I
Sure.
could give one less of a crap about an individual accolade if in the grand scheme of things. Like I want this team to win. That is all I want. That's all I've ever wanted. And I think my only misconstrued message would be if I get too competitive, if I get too serious about something and
Mm.
people, some people come to college and I didn't think this would happen. Some people want to play college volleyball and it's fun and I'm paying my bills. I came to play college volleyball because I wanted to be the best volleyball team.
I see.
And I think that's unique in mid-major too, because you get some kids who, miss their big shot for whatever reason. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I love being the underdog. I'll be mid-major all day. I think our team does a phenomenal job at being major in circumstances where we need to be. But I think, some people came to play volleyball and it's like, I'm paying the bills, it's kind of fun. This isn't my end all be all, where for me, it was my end all be all. And that's, I think, where maybe some things kind of could clash. But at the end of the day, I think it got figured out. And I think people realize we all want just to win and just in different ways. And we have different ways of going about that. And that's just a teammate understanding and a culture building thing for sure.
Yes. Yes. Can you do me a favor and flash the rock there on the
Yeah,
thing?
I'm like talking. I'm not trying to be like the girl who just got engaged. I talk with my hands so much.
Yeah,
Like I am such center thing. I'm everywhere. I'm vocal.
that's
I'm
right.
drawing too much attention to myself. Yeah, this is our last year. Love saying that. Last year's Mac ring. Very nice.
Pretty
Again,
sweet.
I know I said it to you, but I was at an event before this where we wore this. Not trying to like decorate myself for this, but that's we came from a breakfast of champions with our baseball, soccer, and our team who won their respective championships this year. So I look like I'm, trying to flash the bling. I'm sorry, I'm a hand talker. It's just gonna happen.
It just so happened that you were ready for the interview.
I know.
um,
That's why I was like, when you said that, I'm like, oh, perfect. I'm gonna have my hair straightened. I'm gonna have my jacket on. It's perfect.
oh,
So
it's
yeah, no,
awesome.
it worked out great.
You just said something that was really cool.
Yeah.
Because I think it is for the scheme of American collegiate volleyball, it means a great deal. Is like the game is in search of parity and in search of the opportunity for a lesser known team, a mid-major team, to
Yeah.
be defeating some of these giants, right? Taking down the major squads.
Yeah.
And you all have been able to do that over the
Mhm.
course of the time that you've been there.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, Logan, like, what does it mean to you to be at somewhere like Western Michigan, which has turned into a place that we all know as a
Yeah.
leader on the court?
Yeah.
And then with that recognition, you go to these tournaments and to these locations that are thought of as like places that road teams can't win. And then
Mhm.
you do, and it's like, okay, well, maybe we have something here. Like,
Mhm.
what was that like in real time when you were traveling to those places and competing against those, swinging up, so to say,
Yeah.
next level schools?
Right. Yeah. I think that's everything. That's like the feeling that you just crave as an athlete. I think
Mm,
that's what's so cool about being in mid major is because even if you are good, it's still people are always gonna look at you and be like, oh, they shouldn't have won that. And like I love that. There's nothing better than like this shouldn't have won that. Like
sure.
those are the feelings that you just crave and you hope that all the pieces come together so that you can win those big matches. And I think that's what happened for us the past 2 years. I think we had confidence. We had a senior class that was big enough where we felt, hey, we've done this. We've been here. There's no more first game nerves. There's no more, oh, they're that school. Like, no, we're Western Michigan. We weren't scared of who was on the other side. It could have been a Michigan. It could have been a school we hadn't even heard of. It's like, it doesn't matter. Whoever's there, like they're in our way. That was
Yeah.
something we said this year, like whoever it is, they're in our way to where we're trying to go. And that's all we need to know about them is that it doesn't matter their ranking, whatever it is. I think it actually fired us up more this year to play those teams, which was really awesome. I think this year was a bit different as our preseason schedule was probably the most challenging. We played teams like Tennessee, we played teams like Marquette, we played teams like Michigan State. We played all these teams, and it's like pulling out some wins, taking some tough losses. But what was so awesome was like each loss, it wasn't going in the locker room and coach being like, it was like, you guys tried so hard. It was like, no, we were mad. Like we had real things to work on. Like coach was like, that wasn't good enough. And I think that's so good. It's not having those cushy conversations. It's like, no, like we could have, should have won that. And this is X, Y, and Z, Y. It's not like we couldn't. It's that we didn't. And I think that was really awesome because, you see teams where it comes up the selection show, this versus that. And you're like, good luck. And, they go and it's a fun experience. And they're like, that was awesome. I don't care that we lost to whoever. Like, I'm so glad we were there. And it's like, yeah, we felt that. But especially being the second year we got to go that tournament, it's like, we're here. Like, we want to win. We believe we can win. We're not just here to eat the NCAA sponsored food and get the merch. Like, we want to make a path for ourselves to get to farther rounds in. So yeah, that feeling's everything. I love being an underdog in that way. I think mid majors there's some magic to it. Like I just love that feeling. And I love that being an alum now. I love looking back at these games being like, they don't want to play Western Michigan. Like they have a name now. They are who they are. And I can't wait to watch our juniors, sophomores, freshmen, all of them carry the rest of that out for us.
Yeah. 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 Here's where I want to touch on Coach Munson
Yeah.
because what you said is so important of like being able to have that leader who continues to keep everything even keeled and ready to continue on, and even when there are tough stretches to bring it back, right, to recycle, say we got to get back to winning ways, what we've been built on. I remember, I'm not sure if you remember this, but I was up at your match against Central a few months ago. Yeah, I know. I knew that was coming. I remember this distinctly, and this is why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah.
Between it was the first set break, and you all went into the locker room area, and I went, okay, haven't seen that one before. Like, I didn't know there was a break there. Well, Coach Munson is using all the time she's got.
Yeah.
What has it been like for you to learn under her, and what are some of the ways that she has been integral in building this thing to what it is that we know now?
Yeah, I think, that was a very memorable moment. Whenever you see the team go past the bench, it's not good. Something's going on. But no, I think with her, what I kind of applaud her for as the years grew, with me even being there in our class, I think she let us mold the program with her like parameters, right? There's no hard rules, there's nothing black and white. Like there's always room for change. And we made a lot of positive change in this program as our senior and super senior class. We left a lot of good fingerprints all over what we've done here in this program. And that's what I think is so cool about it is she gave us the avenue to like make it our own with, obviously with what she had in mind, but she let us kind of have our own way with it. And I think she's so focused on the culture of the thing. And I think that's so important. I think you can have a great team, but you can watch them fight across the net and you can watch their bench not cheer when someone's playing over them in their position, but you see ours and you don't see that. And I think that's what's so unique, and it's so hard to build that kind of culture. But that's why I think having a leader like her who is so like, hey, you guys need to be your family. Like we're all here for the same goal, whatever. And then having the seniors echo that and whatever they do and having the rest of the team follow that as well. Like, I think that's just so powerful. And I think that's what she's done such a good job with. And the rest of the coaching staff is this stuff's important. You can be great volleyball players, but if you're not a great team, you're not going to go anywhere. So I think that's her biggest impact on what we've done for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And here's what I'm thinking about, Logan, is like, now that you've had the career that you have had and ready to take that next step, like, what are some of the things that you've been thinking about and reflecting on as like the points of emphasis, the highlights for your
Yeah.
time there now that you're ready to get going on something?
Yeah, no, this is like a perfect time for that because we've had banquets and the breakfast this morning and things. And like I have been speaking at those for on behalf of our team, and like I get to finally reflect. And I think for me, because I was so focused on like I really wanted to play after this, I was trying to find my way in. I'm still actually navigating that, but I think I didn't give myself time to like think and like realize that that part's over and that we're not coming back. And our
Mm.
team's in day 3 of practice and we're not there, and that's super weird. So I think I don't know, like it's just I think for me, especially too, because I want to play and I want to coach. I want to college coach. Like I think learning under her and seeing things like, ooh, I want to bring that in. I'm taking that with me. I'm
Mm.
gonna take this, but I'm gonna tweak it a little bit. And just the pieces I've been grabbing, like I love the aspects of our culture and I know what's gonna be non-negotiable if I ever have my own team. I know the things that I want to start and the legacy that I want to leave as a coach and as someone who mentors women in that way. So I don't know. I think I just am so appreciative of the family culture and all the ways that that has been shaped and how Colleen has fostered that and how we've carried that on. That's a lesson I'm going to take forever. And I love our athletic director. He's done such a phenomenal job of making Western like we're winners, like we're a championship culture, like we're going up from here. We're gonna make a name for ourselves and for this school. And I think I just appreciate all the hard work that's been put into it because I think sometimes you put all this work into something, it doesn't work out. And it's like, oh, that work, it wasn't worth it. But I've seen and I'm living proof of teams and of a school that we put in so much work. We've developed, we've bought into making this a great place in facility aspects and coaching aspects and player aspects. And it came to fruition for me, which I'm so thankful for. And I hope that every athlete gets that kind of feeling and that closing feeling of, just the closure in general. Like winning your last game, not everyone gets to do that. Not a lot of people get to do that, but being able to do that for me, and at least having that feeling of, what, we lost, but we did something great here. I hope everyone can get that because that's that hard work to getting what you really want to get to. That's what I want to kind of carry on with me in my coaching career.
Yes. Do you know, and this is off the cuff, I
Yeah.
thought of this as you were speaking.
Yeah.
Do you know Grayson Mercer at all?
I do. I was
Okay.
thinking he would come up. Yes, I have gotten to meet him. We got to speak
Yeah,
at a
yeah, yeah.
panel together for something. I forget what, but he's great.
For
Yeah.
sure, for sure. That's very interesting. I know I remember hearing from him about the panel that you all were on. I
Yeah.
didn't hear that story. Um, Here's what I am thinking though with that is like what you just mentioned about the investment and the ability to make that change, right?
Yeah.
And generate that excitement and, turn this program into something. He
Yeah.
said the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's after he came from here. And then he goes to Kalamazoo. And
Yeah.
then he plays a year and sees them go to the tournament and
Yeah.
square off against the number one ranked Ohio State Buckeyes and
Right.
be in that match the whole way through, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, the fact that that sentiment is running with you and with him, even
Yeah.
though your careers at Western were
Yeah.
on such different trajectories, I'm like, maybe I should believe that. Maybe
Yeah.
I should see it that that's true. And we got another guy coming, Jonathan Stout. He just moved from Michigan State to Western and
Cool.
just started his time there. I think he's going into now his second semester of junior year. So he's got a
Cool.
year and then the semester. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, everything I've heard validates what you just said. And I think it's amazing to know that you're hearing things and it's like, no, man, that's more than you hear. That's the truth.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah.
Uh, what is it like in the media in KZoo? I got to ask that because I know being in a market like that, it feels like, and it's even true here on a different scale, arguably,
Yeah.
still the point remains is like the city is built around the university.
Yeah.
What has it been like to experience the coverage that you have in Kalamazoo, and do you have any kind of memories of that? Me being a media guy,
Yeah.
that stand out to you of like either that was a really great thing I got to share or do, or wow, that was kind of weird.
Yeah. I think going from freshman year, which was COVID for me,
Sure.
to seeing my parents on cardboard cutouts in the stands and because they couldn't be there, to what it became. And even regardless of the COVID thing, I know that our seniors and the people that were on the team before me were like, not getting the kind of fans and things that they like felt that they wanted to get to, but they weren't getting the results that creates that kind of atmosphere, right? And what to no fault of their own, it happens. You're building up, you're building something great, and by their senior year, they got to a point where it was COVID. So it's like, well, no matter how much good work you put in, you're not going to get the kind of media that you want. So I
Right.
think going from that year to 2021, which was not an awesome year, to 22, where we didn't even make the tournament for the max tournament, was tough. We're seeing our family in the stands. We're seeing, normal media. They're asking us what's going on because we know we can do better, but no one really believes that we could have done better besides us and the people on the inside. So then we
Mhm.
get to next year. And I know our athletic director brought it up at our banquet, but I think between last year and this year, we raised like our ticket sales by like 400%, like something like crazy because of not only winning, like obviously you want to see a winning team play, but like being out in the community and being able to like having an athletic director in a program that really thinks community outreach is important. That's one of the pillars of his whole grand 10-year plan for Western is like community outreach, like go out there in the community, do community service, meet the kids, do the camps, go out there and do, just meet people and get Kalamazoo involved because it is such a, Western centered city. Like you think Kalamazoo, you think of Western. So I think that's been huge. And I think that for the media and like, I can't wait to see next year, we keep having more and more opportunities for, themes at our games and fans at our games and seeing like, we're getting obviously even just in volleyball in general, we're getting huge like output numbers of increases in women's sports and specifically volleyball. So I think it has been cool seeing that, like, again, like I said before, the work you put in, what's going to come out of it. The things you want, you can get to. Just sometimes you have to start really freaking low, and that's hard. And some people don't stick it out, but I think our school has, we've dug out through the mud and we've worked our way up to be able to be in the position we are today with the kind of media coverage and things like you mentioned.
Let me ask you, Logan, one more thing about Western is I know you've touched on it a little bit, having Colleen as the touch point for you moving into your coaching career and kind of feeding off of what you learned from her, and I
Yeah.
would imagine from your club time under your parents and
Yeah.
all of these experiences coming together. Like, have you had any time to consider what your involvement with Western will be going forward? Would you think about maybe grad assisting or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that?
Yeah, I definitely had those conversations, and I think they're very, they're very helpful with moving forward. Like I know that they know that I want to keep playing, and I think they're giving me all the resources. I'm gonna get back in the gym on I think Tuesday,
Mhm.
after a little weekend break. But like they've been so helpful and pointing me to the right people. And Dan Bartholomew, our athletic director, is like, don't lose my number. Like he told me that in our last meeting, like do not lose it. Like I will help you. Like whatever. Like they are so great, and obviously they want to succeed as Western alumni. Like they're genuine about that, and they are very passionate about their student athletes moving on into like life after sport. That's been a huge emphasis ever since the kind of administration takeover and turnover from what it was last is that life after sport. And we call it, I think Bronco, what's it called? Not Broncos Reign. We have like not a collective, but kind of a program for like what's going on and like just life skills, like a Bronco life skills program that's kind of been built in. So they're really serious about that. Yeah, but for me, I think, being with Western, like I love to be involved. Like the more I do these things, like even speaking with you or going to the thing this morning, I'm like, I want to be here. Like it's such a great place. Like the grass is not going to be greener. Like I have a great network and community here. Like I want to be involved, but then I'm like, do I want to coach my friends? Do I want to put that on myself? Do I want to grad assist my friends? Will I be able to hold my tongue, say the right things? So I could see myself coming back here in some capacity and always being an outlet of support for any kind for coaching for the players. You're like, I'm always going to reach out. I'm always going to be their number one fan, whether that's being more direct or indirect. But yeah, I could see myself, if this fall doesn't come up the way I want it to with playing, I would love to be back in a GA category or something like that because I'm all about what they're about here. So
Have you heard of, and I'm like going to pivot really hard here, but I
okay,
promise it relates.
yeah,
Have you heard of Erin Matson?
I've not.
Okay. Yeah. Question for you.
Yeah,
Again, it all relates. I hope you're like, what is he talking about?
uh-huh.
Um, are you 22 or 23?
23.
Okay. Yeah. So Erin Matson is 24.
Okay.
She is the head women's field hockey coach at North Carolina.
Oh, I did know that name.
Yes.
Yes, I see. Yes.
At 24. Here's why I'm saying this. She won 4 national championships as a player at Carolina,
Yeah.
and then takes over the head coaching job a year removed at
Yeah.
23 and wins a national title in her first year as a head coach.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I
That's
mean, come
amazing.
on. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
I say that because, well, gosh dang it, the sky's the limit, Logan. I mean,
Yeah.
these things can happen,
Yeah.
and I see what you were saying about not wanting to go back or, thinking at least, having discernment about what it would be like to coach friends. But
Totally.
that's one example of like, shoot, if it's right, then it works.
Yeah. Right.
And it's just pretty remarkable to consider.
Hmm.
That was my last thought though
Yeah.
about Western. I gotta ask you, like, we've gotten to the point of the year where it's PVS is on the way, the LOVB is on the way. There are
Yeah.
expanded opportunities for the American volleyball scene. But what are you thinking about? What have the conversations looked like in terms of where you might go, being that you want to keep playing?
Yeah. It's a whole different world over there. It's a business, and I kind of love it because like they look at me, which I think I've done well, I've done my thing. Like they look at me and they're like, no, not good enough, not tall enough, not this. And I'm like, I love that because that shows you that they're serious. Like they're not going to take somebody based off someone's word. Like they're going to look at how you play. They're going to look at you physically and be like, yeah, that's going to do. And I love that I'm not in that category. I think I prepared myself for it. I know that about myself. I've always been told I'm short or whatever, but I'm like, I'm going to do it. And I've also learning with this professional navigation journey that like you have to sell yourself. And I
Mm.
hate that because it's a team sport and it's so team for me. It's always been that way. And now, even just playing, even here now, it's like, no, you have to kind of just be an agent for yourself and like put yourself out there because no one else is going to do it for you. And if you're not confident in yourself and you're not saying, hey, I'm good enough, I want to play for your team, I can do it, put me out there, I'm capable, they're not going to believe you, they're not going to believe anybody. So I think for me, I'm not going to have the opportunity here, I don't think yet. But I'm fine to go abroad. I think that would be amazing. I've heard the player development and personal development over there is amazing, so I'm willing to do it. I just have to find someone who's going to get me over there and who's going to believe in me. I've been talking to an agency that speaks great, like all the stuff I want to hear. I'm like, yes, like where I'm at, what we need to do to mutually benefit from each other.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm navigating that and I hope that goes well. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking about right now.
First off, thank you for being open and willing to
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
kind of what's coming. A little birdie told me that Logan Case has a French degree.
Yeah.
And that begs the question, could we see Miss Case ripping up a French league here very
Be
shortly?
amazing. If I had to go abroad, that would be perfect because the language barrier is huge, right? Like that's just a huge issue for people, and that's what scares people, I think, because it is different. Like reading a menu, there's a stereotype. French people are rude. Like if they know you're American, they're gonna be like, oh, this guy, right? So no, I would love that. That is that is the goal for me, like 100%. So if I can get over there, like that would just be the icing on top of the cake. Like maybe that's why I have this French degree, right? Like maybe that's why oh my God, I spilled my water. Maybe that's why I decided to do this thing, right? Like I can speak French pretty well. I can read it. Comprehending it's a whole, oh my gosh, the mess, a whole nother issue. They speak so fast. They're so like they have this accent and it's really hard to decipher. Like even the agent I was speaking to, she's Italian and she's saying these things and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I hope I'm getting this right. I hope we can, not have a loss in translation. But no, the French league is like that'd be a dream of mine. And after I realized I initially wanted to teach, right? So
Sure.
I knew I wanted to teach high school. I've always loved that part of my life. I had a great teacher who really made me want to consider French as my outlet to getting into teaching, into working with children and just working with high schoolers and helping them kind of navigate their way through. But I don't know. It's so hard to think about being away for that long and being in a different country. I think, people do it. And I think I'm independent enough. I have my people here that I'm going to miss so much. And that's the only thing holding me back because other than that, I'd be gone. I could do it. I love learning from different cultures. I think we're way too ignorant over here. I wish more people had the desire to learn a bit more outside of themselves and to go and do things that other people don't do, and that are out of their comfort zone. But I am willing, and I'm hoping I can get over there. The French leagues are very good, so I might have to work my way up a bit. But again, I just got to go over there. That's what I'm understanding as I have conversations with people who've done it and coaches who understand it. Like, you just got to get over there and you work your way up and you prove yourself, because they're a business. They want the best team. And I love that. It's true competition. Like, it's your job. You're getting paid over there. And college athletics is becoming like a little more like that. Like, you're getting paid for a job. Like, I love that. Like, this is serious. That's how I've always wanted volleyball to be, is serious. And it's, something that if you're not cut out for it, then you're done. And I think personally, I was even told as a recruit going into college, like hoping to play college volleyball, like, I don't know, you're probably going to cap out, we can try to look at the Horizon League or the MAC, but that's probably all. And I'm like, listening to this, and I'm like, I don't know anything about recruiting. And I hear that, and I'm like, okay, that crushed my soul. Like, that crushed me, that someone didn't think I could do it. And then what we get here, and for myself, for my position, I did the best I could do, I feel. So I'm like, you know what? Every level I've been at, I have succeeded in some way, whether it's individually or with my team. And I'm like, I'm not going to stop until I get to a place where, I'm not good enough. I'm out of it. Someone surpassed me and I'm not good enough. And I've not had that happen yet. So I'm going to keep going. And I am aware that I'm going to have so much work to do. It is a whole nother world over there. I'm not there at all. I've been out of it since our last game, but I'm really hopeful that my French degree will take me to, maybe that'll give me a little leg up on some people, right? That I could understand what's going on. But no, I really hope that works out, because that would be an amazing way to get abroad, because I miss those opportunities because of volleyball with my education. So I'm hoping that I can merge the two and I can get over there.
Absolutely. And I think what you said kind of struck a chord with me, because you're right. Like, the collegiate landscape is more of a business, and it's to that side where you got to advocate for yourself and what you want to do.
Yeah.
I have two questions about that I want to get into, and then we'll do the short segment, the rapid fire, and then we'll be on the way. First off, how do you feel? Because the more I hear, the more I generally think like volleyball is one of the earliest recruiting sports in terms of youth that there is. Like, is that something that, if you were a, power that be decision maker, are you saying like that's too early? Or how do you feel about having gone through it and being where you are now? Like, could there be a change there?
Yeah, I think it changed. I want to say the year after I went through the recruiting process that it got pushed back a bit for volleyball. Okay. I don't remember all the logistics. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I know I was visiting and things as a sophomore. I think I committed as a junior, which, I saw girls like that I play with against at club, and they're committing in 8th grade. And I'm like, how do you know what you want in 8th grade? Like, that's a purely like maybe parental push, maybe, I can't pass up the money, but like, how do you know that that's where you really want to be? So I think that there needs to be some more rules. I think they have made them better. Again, I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's in a way better place, I believe, than it was when I was younger. But then you've got kids who are like, oh, I want to get the jump on it, that want to go earlier. So it's like, it's such a gray area. But, I think for volleyball too, height obviously strikes people's eyes as coaches, like, oh, that girl's huge, we can develop her. Like, if you catch them young enough, you can take them and say, hey, you're tall, let's mold you into this middle blocker. Hey, you're tall, let's, and I think that's definitely something that a lot of those taller kids get looks earlier, which I think, I did not. I thought, oh, I think I'm okay. Like, maybe people reach out to me. No reach outs. I did a poor, not because of where I ended up, I did a poor job at the recruiting process and got lucky that this school found me and were willing to take me in. I had a teammate who played here before me, Maggie King, who was phenomenal. And I played with her for 9 years in club. And she came here before me. Coaches saw me because of her. Obviously, I was the one setting her. And they're like, oh, we like that connection. We like her as a setter, yada, yada. Here I am. So thankful. Wouldn't have had it any other way. Wouldn't have left. Like, absolutely love it. But yeah, I think for younger girls, like, there's just so much going on in high school and you don't even know what's important yet. Like, if I think back to my junior year self, I'm like, I've got the wrong priorities. I've got the wrong friends. I've got the wrong idea about what I want. Like, I need some more time. And obviously, if I could redo it, I would look at things differently, but I would never personally change how it worked out for me. And I'm so thankful for that, because I'm sure there are kids who waited too long, who didn't send the right thing, who didn't push themselves enough, where they, undermined their own abilities and didn't get the opportunity they wanted. So I definitely think that there's some work to do there. But as NIL changes and the collective and the scholarship versus percentage athletes changes, like it's going to get even more crazy. It's going to become more businessy, and they're not going to be able to control it. And I think it's already hit that point. So I hope that it doesn't, screw a certain level of kids out of scholarship opportunities. So we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Last thing, Logan, and then we got the rapid fire, and then we'll
Sweet.
be on the way. Uh,
Sweet.
I know what you just said, and so the last thing I'm trying to do is like turn what you said into something that it's not.
No, you're good. You're good.
I want to go in a direction that I think you'll see where I'm getting at.
Mhm.
Is you mentioned, and everything I hear from you says loyalty, commitment, engagement, and dedication to where I'm trying to go
Yeah.
and at where I'm at presently, right?
Mhm.
And I think that shows of like, yeah, despite the transfer portal and the other options potentially that could have been out there, you stayed steadfast and engaged in where you were at.
Mhm.
I'm Here's where it comes in. I'm not gonna say like, oh my gosh, there were chances to go other places, but what, if any, was it like for you to be contacted by other places? Like, did that happen at all for you? And what was that like to navigate and then to re-engage and shut it down
Mhm.
and say, no, I'm here. I made this commitment.
Yeah. I think the first kind of thing I saw, again, I didn't know what I didn't know coming into college. Like it's a whole different world with volleyball. But the first kind of instance I had with like even thinking about like that transferring would be an option. Even
Mhm.
so, I was on Twitter and I think I had just gotten freshman of the year, and some like internet troll commented on the Twitter and was like, "Oh, great, now she's gonna leave like every other freshman of the year, blah blah blah," like because that culture that's over there. And I was like, "What the hell?" I'm like, "I'm not leaving. Like, should I leave? What? Like, this is crazy." And
Yeah.
that was the first kind of thing I saw, and I'm like, I never thought about leaving at that point, even though it was quite literally the worst year of my life. COVID, not because of where I was, just COVID. It was for everyone. Like
Definitely.
every single person in my class would say that was one of the hardest years of their life,
Yeah, definitely.
for various reasons. And we're not going to get on all that. No one wants to rehash that. But no, I think it's a great thing. We got great players from the transfer portal. One of my best friends came from the transfer portal. It's a great thing for kids in the wrong situation. I just think it's going to become money seeking, and it's going to become kind of selfish.
Sure.
Not saying every situation is different. I'm never going to judge someone for leaving. I've seen both sides of it. I'm never going to judge someone, but as someone who thinks they want to coach, and I'm like, it would be so hard to think you're going into one year with a certain level of play and a level of skill you have on your team. Then three of them were scheming, leaving the entire time, and they're gone. It's like, and I get no one wants to have that talk and that transparency, but if both coaches and student athletes have a little more transparency, I think that could be avoided. But it's hard, and no one like as much as you love a school or love a coach or a coach loves you, that transfer portal is such a sticking point. Like it is such a that hurts. You're awesome, but that hurts. It's always gonna hurt, and it's gonna burn a program. So it's tough. I get it. It's necessary. There are some situations where it's like that was not working out for you. I'm so glad that you found your new home. I'm so glad that worked out, and I love seeing those stories. And I've seen that with our own team. But it is tough, and I was never directly. I was asked about it a bunch. Like, oh, are you going to leave? Interviews. I'm like, don't even bring that up. Like, that's just not like something that doesn't even need to be talked about. If I would have transferred out, I would have felt so shameful. Like I could not have. And it's not. That is me. That is where my priorities lie. Like I would have rather stuck it out in a great spot where I was at than leave.
Absolutely.
There were like, obviously my parents were in the volleyball world. They still are. They would get jokingly like, "Hey, like, is she trying to come to California? It's warmer," like jokes about like people they know, and it was never serious.
Sure.
Then I got tagged in like some, what Volley Talk is?
Yes.
Yeah, I get Google alerts when I'm mentioning something. I don't know how I set that up. Like if it says my name, I get like a Logan Case, whatever it comes up, and so I look and it's like after last year. Oh, apparently Coach Danny Busbaum Kelly from Louisville asked Logan to come set next year, and I was like, that did not happen. We talked in the hallway. It was super lighthearted about not that. And like just people trying to like Volley Talk's like a gossip website. It cracks me up. I try not to go on there, but it is freaking entertaining. But no, I was never directly approached, which I'm glad about. I didn't even want to think about that. And every time I thought, oh, that team's got more flashy lights, that team's got more this, I'll get more money there, I'll get this. It's like the what we've built here is so special, and I could never
Yeah.
imagine doing that. And I get different people feel different ways, and it's not inherently selfish, but for me, that would have been a very selfish choice when I had great teammates, a great camaraderie. Like I'm no better than this team right here. This is my family. We built this together. Like that would not be my place to leave, and I would never consider it seriously ever. People that do, I hope they find where they need to go. I hope it works out for them. I never hope for a horror transfer story. I hope that the portal leads them to where they need to be.
Certainly.
Yep.
Certainly. What do you say we do the Rolling Loud on the rec room
Yeah,
when
let's
we
do
get
it.
out
That
of
sounds
here?
fun.
Perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
I can't
So
wait.
here's what I'm thinking: a series of a couple questions, maybe four, maybe five,
Okay,
like one word, depending, maybe one sentence, and then
cool.
if you had to ascribe your volleyball career at Western with one word, what would you say?
Jeez,
The hard hitting ones.
that's crazy. I'll say climb. Yeah, it was a motto of our department through our athletic director, and we did. We just climbed up in some way every year, even if it wasn't the year we wanted. It just kept trending towards what we want, where we wanted to go.
Mm. What's the hardest ball to set for you?
Ooh, I'm gonna say that's a really good one. I'll say a middle A, and that sounds silly,
Mm.
but because every middle is different and every pass is different and every timing is different, and it's just a different kind of connection you have to have. So inherently, it's a one tap set. It's super easy, but I think
Yeah.
that's just what's on my head right now. So I'll go with that.
Okay. Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
I want you to think about your knowledge of the French language and
Ooh.
tell me what your favorite thing to say is in French.
Okay, I'll say there's a word that I always think of, and I thought this first. I'll say it. It's how you say frog. I think it's grenouille. It's this crazy word, super random. Love it. Anything with the R's is fun because it's not like the Spanish like arr, it's like more of like a throat sound.
Mm,
It's kind of weird, like a, but those are fun to say. So I'll go with that word for sure.
mm, absolutely.
I need
And
to
then
learn the volleyball lingo though. I don't know any volleyball lingo besides volley, which is just volleyball. So I'll have to learn. Yeah,
that's funny. Wow.
yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Okay, here we go. Let me think about this one. A successful 2025 is defined as what for you?
Just at a vision board. I should know this. It's right here.
Ah,
Um, is defined as. Mm, should probably know this going into the new year, huh? A successful 2025 for me is defined as leaving my comfort zone.
mm,
Yeah, I think that's going to be big. Just big changes, not being afraid to tackle them. Like, I was unsure coming into college and it worked out great. I'm unsure. Like, I'm just going to keep learning off the past and say it all works out. So that's where I'll
mm.
go.
And then lastly, Logan, before we get out of here, do you
Yeah.
have anybody that you want to shout out or give thanks for or anything like that?
Yeah.
We'll move on.
I want to shout out my teammate, Andy, who again just got married. She's the definition of outside of comfort zone right now. She's doing all the things. She's adulting. She's doing all the great things. She's got married. She's got her new house. She's
Wow.
got her new coaching job that she's navigating. Like she's doing it. And I've loved playing with her. We came in since the beginning. We're the last two of the fifth years who stayed all 5 years here. So
Mm,
that's like really, really special. I called her my volleyball soulmate at the banquet that we had for our team a
yes.
couple weeks ago. She outworks everyone, me included. She is the best player I've played with. She's just phenomenal. And she could, if she was given the chance, she could be on that national team and would shock the world. She would be amazing. And we're all on different paths. I know she will get where she needs to go, but I commend her for her volleyball career. And I know she will be the best coach. So I'll give her a shout out. And my roommate Anna, who's probably listening through the wall. Love that
There it
girl.
is.
Transfer portal glory story right there. For,
Boom.
so yeah.
Boom. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, Logan, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you for being willing to do it and sit here with me and
Yeah, thank you. No, that's great.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Very excited to see kind of what's up next and what's coming, and definitely will be tuned in and following along with the charts. So
Sweet.
appreciate you and congrats on everything. And that's been Rec Room episode 15 right there with Logan Case. And I just thank you all for listening, for engaging, and Logan, thank
Thank you.
you.